Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, two ads. Well, one ad and one sort of skit. One is an appeal to women to vote for Kamala Harris. And the other is appeal to honky men to vote for Kamala Harris. First, Billy Eichner and Will Ferrell. If you don't know Billy Eichner, he's kind of a comedic actor. And if you don't know Will Ferrell, he's sort of become kind of a comedic actor, too.
Everybody knows Will Ferrell.
I think you missed my point.
I know.
Yeah, you're talking over me.
Oh, my God.
Billy Eichner, doing it again. Billy Eichner and Will Ferrell, loud white men for Kamala.
Hey guys, it's Billy. I am back on the street with the one and only Will Ferrell, and we are out here today to represent a very important voting demographic, loud white men for Kamala Harris. So you ready, Will? Ah! Sir, we're loud white men for Kamala. Join the call.
Join the call.
Hell yeah, I'm in. Yeah, who are you voting for?
Kamala Harris.
Yes, exactly. Have you voted yet?
Mail-in ballot.
Oh, mail-in ballot, bitch! Miss, for $1, would you have sex with a Trump voter?
No.
Thank you. Sir, we're loud white men for Kamala. Join the call.
Yes.
Yes.
I support Kamala.
Yes, that's not that loud, but louder?
Oh, louder.
Yes.
I support Kamala.
Louder!
I support Kamala.
Yeah! Miss, did you hear if Kamala wins, she's going to make Buddy the Elf Secretary of Christmas?
That would be phenomenal.
Would you have sex with a Trump voter? Oh, okay, thank you. Sir, loud white men for Kamala. Join the call. Go Kamala! Yeah! Miss! For $1, for $1, for $1. Who are you voting for?
Kamala Harris!
Yes, there you go! Yes, yes! Okay.
Oh my God!
I have to go! Yeah! Tell everyone in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania to vote for Kamala!
East Stroudsburg, vote for Kamala!
Please! Sir, loud white men for Kamala, join the call!
Yeah!
Yeah! Who are you voting for?
Kamala.
Yeah! What's your name?
My name is Corey.
Corey! Corey for Kamala!
What the heck was that?
That's fun.
That's not fun. That's annoying.
That's the joy vibe.
Oh, that's right. Joy.
So that's how you get white honkies to vote for Kamala. How you get the female honkies to vote for her is to tell them it's okay. You don't have to be dominated by your husband.
Do you sympathise with any voters who do feel offended?
Walking into a polling.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want.
Yeah, thanks.
And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
Well, as a woman, I find that as the most insulting campaign ad I have ever seen. Like as if we're so subservient and we're afraid our husband's going to beat us with a stick if we don't vote for Trump. I mean, what year is this? And honestly, it's like women are being, dishonest in their marriages. So don't be dishonest in your marriage. There's plenty of people who have marriages where the husband's a Republican or either way around and the wife's a Democrat.
Yeah, I don't understand those marriages, but that is true.
Well,
by the way, that was Julia Roberts, the Pretty Woman, that narrated that ad.
But also, too, the husband, they had gold piping on his hat. It looked as if he served, if he was a veteran of some, I don't know what branch of service, but that ad is very offensive. If you haven't seen it, we tweeted it out. Well, I tweeted it out. You can see it.
Joy Pullman is the executive editor of the Federalist, Federalist.com, author of False Flag, Why Queer Politics Mean the End of America. Joy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me.
When I was being compelled to consume that content you just heard, I was thinking about your column, how we're all transgender now, because those spots really seem to fit into the argument that you're making.
Oh, absolutely. Both of these are really playing up the cross-sex behavior of that Americans have been forced into over the last more than half century. With the men basically acting like middle school girls, with the Will Ferrell spot, completely unmanly to be running around the streets shrieking like, you just, and paint like you're painting your nails with glitter, and I don't know, it's just really
Dyeing your hair pink. Yes.
Exactly. And then you have, these women sitting over here, why are you even married to men if you can't be honest with them? Why would you marry a man that you have to lie to all the time? That's a completely dishonest picture of marriage, and it really subverts the beautiful, complementarity that men and women show to each other in marriage. That does include, the fact that men are better at functioning as leaders of the home and making decisive, protective decisions. And, I mean, frankly, every time I voted in a way against my husband, first of all, he never, in any way mistreated me over that. But second of all, he was right. In retrospect, I should have voted along with him in the past. And I know a lot of women who say, yeah, my husband tends to have better political judgment. And I only sometimes realize that a couple of years later.
But who thought this was a good idea? I mean, I just looked at the campaign ad over and over again. And I thought, what kind of person would even script an ad like that?
Well, so I believe, if I remember correctly, it's, the Lincoln Project that's behind the, women lying to their husbands. And again, what an act of disrespect. It's way more respectful to tell your husband, hey, I disagree with you, here's why, rather than, going into that voting booth and acting, and just subverting him without talking about it face to face and having an honest conversation like any functional married couple should be able to do. That's really showing up was really dysfunctional dynamic going on in those marriages for women who, whatever, very small number of women who are married who feel like they have to do that. But the Lincoln Project that I believe is behind that ad, it has been linked to, some of its founders have been linked to, let's just say, sexually deviant activities, including potentially reaching out to younger male staffers. So I don't think the people behind this ad really have good understanding of sexual relations and dynamics and healthy relationships going on. If anyone just looks them up, you can see more background on that.
The ad is like most every sitcom. The husband is a uncouth doofus, and the wives are these sort of long suffering wives who have to deal with the backwardness of their husband. And because there's a moment in the spot where, go ahead and vote, honey. And then the two women are in polling booths across one another, and they, look up at each other and they lock eyes and they just have like a knowing smile, and then they, fill in the Walls Harris bubble and so forth. I mean, the whole thing. But I mean, it's every sitcom, just about every sitcom too. That's
just a slap to any woman who who may be in a relationship like that. Which again, I'm not convinced there are that many, because women who behave that way tend to be divorced if they ever were married in the first place. Very hard for you to attract a man when you can't respect him enough to tell him what you think and have honest conversations with him. That is, again, not the basis for a loving, functional relationship. But women, so if there are any women like this, that in their marriage is functioning like that, man, I predict a pretty soon divorce, right? And nobody wants a divorce. It's obviously shows a failure of the people going into. So these people are really celebrating having a dysfunctional marital life and relationships between men and women in a way where you can't communicate honestly and level with each other, and maybe even try to persuade each other or talk through major issues that really do matter. The last thing I wanted to say is, like, just imagine how actually having married a husband like that makes these women look stupid, right? Why would they ever marry a man who's a doofus, who apparently is commandeering them and bullying them around? That speaks poorly of the woman's decision of husband if they happen to be married to a guy like that.
Well, the going back to your column too, we're all transgender now, which is interesting, because you sort of take on this characterization that comes from some conservatives, including like Heather McDonald, that what we have is a ongoing feminization of society. So I just want you to develop your thesis a little bit.
Right. So in that article, I kind of talk about there's been a growing discussion, especially among the right, because quite frankly, it's taboo to criticize women on the left for any reason. They can literally have, So I saw the other day, a woman actually took some sort of medications in order to induce the death of her 20-week-old baby, and she was punished for that because because she didn't do it through an abortion, and she did a self-abortion essentially. And then the left came to her rescue, saying that someone who literally killed her own baby, who could have survived outside of the womb, somehow a hero, right? So the left brooks zero criticism of women for even purposefully inducing the deaths of their own children. But on the right, there's been some discussion about, how the lack of people's ability to take correction, the ability to criticize women for anything ever actually makes women more dysfunctional, like it would any group. If you can't criticize any person for something, criticism is a way of promoting growth. It's promoting self-development. Sometimes criticism is unfounded, and we have a lot of baseless smears and lies and accusations from the left, but there is also positive, constructive criticism, and all of us need to hear that, at points in our lives in order for us to grow as people, because none of us is perfect, and we all, could become better in some way, and someone pointing actually a way that you can become better is one of your best friends is really doing you a favor. So the people on the right have been talking about that in terms of women, and one of my responses is, I actually don't think that it is super feminine, healthy feminine, to be sort of doing this cry-bullying, victim cosplaying behavior. What that really is emotional and mental regression. It is never coming out of the middle school girl stage. I know plenty of competent, mature women who are fully feminine, who are not acting as a man or putting on the pants in their family, but they don't do the backbiting and the cry bullying and the shouting down and the crying and the tears over people that they disagree with. All this stuff that that is kind of tagged as feminine misbehavior that is destroying society. So my argument is that what we really have is not over feminization, but we really have under feminization, and we have again the encouragement for men to act like women, as we've seen with that Will Ferrell ad, and for women to act like men. And the resulting social transgenderism makes people dysfunctional and unhappy. Men and women are happy when they act in their natural biological capacity. Women to be nurturing, loving, receptive, welcoming, just helping the people's relationships to get along, comforting. Men are better, when they are leadership roles, when they are respected, when their judgment is trusted and developed, when they have practice making decisions like that. And that's the sort of yin-yang dynamic that across the entire world and history, all cultures, when they respect what men and women biologically are good at, then their cultures tend to flourish. When we ask women to act in a male capacity, and we ask men to behave like women, then everything gets dysfunctional and crazed. And I think we can just see many, many ways in which our society, our dysfunction relates to both this cross-genderism and the repression of the actual, female nurturing, loving, and instincts that women really do have but are repressed, right? Women are encouraged. We're only celebrated when we are acting like men. We are not celebrated when we're acting like women. And I think we need a lot more of both of those things.
I wanted to get your review of this expose that's the Federalist has done, two-part so far, expose on how the Kamala campaign is manipulating the algorithms in certain social media sites like Reddit and even X to spread disinformation. I mean, that's the top line of it. Yes, well, we actually just had the third installment of that come out this morning. I edited it myself, and that one speaks about how the Kamala Harris campaign. So for listeners who might be of a certain age or listening, there's a large internet kind of forum site called Reddit, and there's different topics within it, and there's one that organizes for the Kamala Harris campaign. On that campaign, our writer has documented evidence of campaign officials for Kamala soliciting foreign volunteers to come knock on doors in battleground states, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin. They're inviting people, for example, from Canada to come be involved in what would be called foreign interference in American elections if the Trump campaign were doing it. That's being requested and encouraged by Kamala campaign operatives. We have a screenshot up today of the Kamala campaign also encouraging foreigners to donate to their campaign through basically a loophole election vehicle, and it basically invites foreign money into American elections on behalf of the Kamala campaign.
And as you mentioned, that's just the third installment. Previous ones were showing, for example, how the people involved on this forum, really, thousands of them worked to change what people can see online and social media by flooding, downvoting certain posts or, criticizing them. And we don't know necessarily if there is a correlation between between that action and what I'm about to mention, but it could be the case. So, for example, if folks have heard about the Joe Rogan interview with Donald Trump that went up this last Friday, that was not visible you could not see it on YouTube. If you typed it in, you would never see the full video of it. And one of the ways that may have been done is if it was, reported as a violation by tens of thousands of people on the internet. And so one of the ways that is used to coordinate those sorts of downvoting to hide information online that hurts Democrats is through this forum that our writer is exposing on the Federalist this week.
Very interesting. Good expose. Look forward to getting into that third installment. Joy Pullman is the executive editor of The Federalist, Federalist.com, author of False Flag, Why Queer Politics Mean the End of America. Joy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Early voting in downtown Chicago is now open through Election Day on November 5th. You can now go to the Chicago Voting Super Site at 191 North Clark or board offices at 69 West Washington Street on the 6th floor to vote. Early voting in all 50 wards of Chicago begins Monday, October 21st at 9 a.m. Any voter can vote at any early voting site, no matter where they live in the city. Same-day registration is available at all early voting sites. Just bring 2 forms of ID, one with your current address. Go to chicagoelections.gov for more information.
All right. A lot of candy is going to be in front of your face tonight as you hand out the goodies to the trick-or-treaters. But what about the fruits and veggies? You can't forget about those, because if you want to remain healthy and happy and